Episode 1181 of the Multifamily Collective. Tonight I wanted to read a quote and tell you what I think about it. I think this is a powerful quote because it uses the principle of constraints. And so Peter Thiel, or Thiel, I think it's pronounced that Thiel, it's Thiel. Peter Thiel, he's one of the very early investors in Facebook, long time ago. Anyway, the quote goes like this: if you have a 10-year plan of how to get something or somewhere, you should ask yourself, why can't you do this in 6 months? Many times we set outcomes out there in the horizon, 3 years. You've probably heard it couched this way: 1 year goals, 3 year goals, 5 year goals, 10 years goals, 20-year goals, et cetera, et cetera. And so the idea being that if you start with the end in mind, then you can work your way toward that. But many times when you're setting those goals that are out in the future, you don't really sit back and think about how you're going to accomplish those things over a timeline, right? So you just make estimates, best estimates. And I think Peter's quote is valuable in the sense that once you go through the exercise of setting goals that are out in the future, you can come back, ask yourself the question, how can I get that 1 year goal done in 1 month, or the 5 year goal done in 5 months? And by doing so, you sort of strip out all the unnecessary waste of time frame and time spent doing exercises that may not be fruitful as it relates to expediting your achievement of an outcome. By placing constraints around the outcome or in between you and the outcome, you narrow your focus and you get hyper focused on what you need to accomplish to get that outcome in an exaggerated time frame or in an abbreviated time frame or in an accelerated pace. You really get yourself narrowed in on accomplishing even big goals, things that are, we call them BHAGs, or that's not a novel word or a novel concept. I think Jim Collins actually coined the term, I think. Good to Great, the book. Anyway, the BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal, something that is 25 years out in the future, you can really bring those things in more near term if you get hyper focused on them and you start to bolt together the various resources that are necessary to get yourself advanced at a much quicker pace. But think about that with your goals this year. I spend every November putting together all of my goals for the following year. I start in October, I get them finalized in November, and then I start in them in December so I can kind of have a running start at achievement. But now I'm going to start asking myself this question: how do I get those things done? Right? At least my 1 year goals, the goals that I want to accomplish in 2022, and I'm well on my way, but I'm working on the timeline that I defined for myself in October, November. I'm going to ask myself this question about all my goals and see if I can get all my goals accomplished in an intentional way, in a meaningful way, in a way of quality, but hopefully sooner than I had originally pinned. Ask that question for yourself. Take care. We'll talk to you again.